Can the Commanders be great on Sunday? That's the question.
I don't even know if they need to be great. Just be good to pretty good.
Pretty good.
And you should be able to take care of a team with a guy making his first start.
If they're good, they'll win by
opinion.
10 or more. If they're pretty good, they'll win by 6 or 7.
It's not a cover.
No, I don't know about the cover.
I'm not going to lie. I'm selfish. I need Jaden to have a great game.
You need a boom game.
Yeah, I need a boom.
You're the biggest Jaden fan in the country.
I need a boom
You need
game.
boom, not a doom, like the Costco guys say.
I like that when you're rooting for my boys.
He's been my starting fantasy quarterback for the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
He's your guy.
He's my guy.
He's your guy.
I've had the most faith in him.
Yep. You have had a lot of faith in Jaden.
I mean, if you drafted him, who else did you draft?
Kyler Murray.
Oh, and when did you switch?
About week
3 or 4?
2 after week 2.
Yeah,
Really?
no turning back at that point.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels will be a very high fantasy pick next year. Very high.
No, but it's a keeper league.
A keeper league?
You know the question.
Keeper league too?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know how every fantasy player just kind of reacts to what the players did the year before.
Sure.
So that's why McCaffrey, who had a huge year last year, was the number one pick pretty much in every draft.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it going to be? Like Jamar Chase?
It's either Jamar Chase, I think, or Saquon may be the number one overall.
Yeah,
pick.
it might be Saquon.
I mean, Saquon's having a monster year. Like he's going to be in consideration for it.
Yeah.
Well, Cakes, I'll tell you, a guy who's having a pretty good year for the hapless Saints. I didn't even realize this. He hasn't been practicing.
Alvin Kamara.
Week. Alvin Kamara, because of an illness, at least through yesterday, still hadn't practiced.
What kind of an illness is it?
Don't know.
So for you fantasy dorks out there, just go pick up Kendre Miller. His backup. He got a little bit of work last week. I think he scored a touchdown in last week's game.
So,
and he was a guy who was really in the doghouse when Dennis Allen was the head coach. But is it Rizzi? Rizzi's the interim.
Darren Rizzi?
Rizzi is the interim, and I guess he's letting him start with a clean slate.
This is why you have to take care of business this week, because he's been unable to practice. His status for Sunday against the Commanders is uncertain. They're gonna already not have Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill, Derek Carr. You gotta close this out.
Yeah, you have to.
I know.
I mean,
this would be a
opponent.
horrible loss.
It would be a bad loss. Yeah. They are so wounded, though. Does that make them kind of dangerous?
I mean, they've been a feisty team under Rizzi, but I just think with
they've won 3 or 4.
Commanders coming out of the bye, healthy. Jaden's rib should be 100%, I would think, or close to it at this point. Guys are fresh.
B-Rob should be ready to go.
Look at what running backs have done to that Saints team in the last few weeks. B-Rob is in line for a monster type of game.
Mm-hmm.
Like he should go for 110 or 115, score a touchdown, help them control the ball throughout. Like he's going to be the focal point.
I mean, unless they just come out flat, turn the ball over a couple of times, which they did against Dallas, right? Because everyone thought they were going to just roll Dallas, certainly come out and play a lot better than they did. But if they just come out flat and they just don't look sharp and they turn the ball over, they have a special teams gaffer, then the Saints can be in the game.
Well,
but if Washington plays a solid game,
it should be fine.
It should be fine.
I watched all 3 pressers from Cliff, I watched DQ, and I watched Joe Witt, and they all mentioned that the energy has been outstanding this week. Yeah. And that's what that's been something that they've been focused on for sure. The Saints did officially, Coach Darren Rizzi did name Jake Haener as their starter on Sunday. Now, if you don't know, this will be Haener's first career start. Came into the league last year as a 4th-round choice, Cakes out of
Fresno State guy?
Fresno, you got it. He's appeared in 7 games this season. He's completed 14 of 29 passing attempts for 177 yards and a touchdown. So even though he's been in 77 games, he's basically only got 1 game's worth of passes. He gets the nod over Rattler, who went 0-3 during his stretch as the starter. So up to Haener to see if he could continue. Since Rizzi took over, they've won 3 or 4. They're 3-1.
Let me give you just a blurb from one of the fantasy guys I follow that does write-ups on every matchup. Expected Week 15 starter Haener stands 6 foot, 207, brings zilch with his legs and has completed an unforgivable 48% of his to-date passes as a pro.
Right.
That's from Evan Silver from Establish the Run. I mean,
even though it's a road game,
you got to take advantage of that guy.
Even though
you got to beat him up from the opening snap.
Even though it's a road game, it would be a much worse loss than the Cowboy
This would be a hideous loss for the Commanders.
Correct.
Now, obviously, we've talked about the injury to Noah Brown. Luke McCaffrey is somebody, as Cakes has mentioned this week, that is maybe hoping to get a few more targets this week. He's
nice.
Played on something like, I think I saw the number was like 41% of the snaps. So it's not like he's a complete noob. Like he's been out there.
Right.
And I know early on anyway, at least halfway through the season, guys were saying he's open. They're just not, they're not getting him the ball. So be interesting to see if Luke steps up a little bit, if he gets a few more targets. Of course, they signed KJ Osborne. You don't have any audio of that, do you, Valdez? This is KJ who flew in right away, got there the first day at 5 a.m. to try to get knee deep into the playbook. He wants to contribute right away if he can.
It's been pretty quick. Kind of got the call, and I was probably on a flight 3 hours later, so I was packed up, ready to go. So I'm excited.
What do you think you can add to this offense?
Man, just my skill set, man. I feel like I can play anywhere, inside, outside. I can stretch the field in the red zone, third down. But I just want to come in and work, and prove it to my teammates, to my coaches, and to this organization, the type of player that I am and I can be, and I'm just excited to get to work, man.
I was listening to Sheehan for a little bit on the way home yesterday, and he was recounting a story about how KJ Osborne, I think this is a year or two ago, he was riding in an Uber.
That's right.
And he sees, on the side of the road, there's a car, on fire.
Right.
And he tells the Uber driver, hey, pull over. We got to see if this guy needs help. He and the Uber driver pull the guy out of the car, burning car.
Right. Saved his life.
Saved the dude's life.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
I remember that story.
If I was riding the Uber and the car's on fire, I'm going to go by.
Hit the gas, buddy.
I'm going to say, I hope that guy makes it. I hope that guy's going to be okay.
Yeah, I don't have the hero gene, Cakes.
Yeah, good for him. It sounds like just a solid human being that they signed.
The only people probably on the planet I would consider saving would be my children.
I hope you do more than consider saving.
Yeah,
them,
you consider it. Right. You think about it. You ponder it.
Well, it depends on if they were definitely doomed.
You'd have to do a cost benefit analysis.
Should I dunk myself off too?
Yeah,
it's already a bad
they're
situation.
Daughters, so I don't know.
Yeah, add insult to injury. Cakes, you will find this interesting. The Commanders did, in fact, bring in a kicker yesterday.
Oh.
Ooh.
Greg Joseph.
Oh,
okay.
Who was it?
He's
He was
made
with
the
the
rounds.
Vikings.
He's been with a bunch of teams.
Yep.
Said since
well
with the
traveled.
Panthers, Titans, Bucks, Vikings, Packers, and Lions. He signed with the Giants. But here's why. This is kind of a nightmare. Zane Gonzalez has been dealing with a foot injury.
Ooh. So
they didn't sign him. They just worked him out.
From what I remember, from what I can recall, there's no injury caveat to our bet, was there?
I don't think so.
I don't think.
I didn't make an injury caveat, but I didn't know he's been dealing with a foot injury.
Interesting.
So
see how this plays out.
Maybe they're just doing it just in case if he struggles, then they'll know right away that's somebody they can sign. But apparently
it's $2. Do I really care that much about $2?
No, you just want to be right.
Yeah, I just want to be right.
When's the last time? So Joseph was with who last year or this year?
So he's 30 years old. All right. I think he was the Giants released him last month. All right. At one point, he signed a 3-year deal with the Dolphins. Let me see, back in 2018, but they cut him coming out of the preseason. And then from there, he had stints with the Panthers, the Titans, the Bucks, the Vikings, the Packers, the Lions.
He's made the rounds
before signing him. And I'm telling you, this is kind of normal for kickers. It's hard to latch on. Got to get hot at the right time. There's got to be an opening.
So he replaced Graham Gano with the Giants when Gano got hurt in that first Washington game. Is that when they signed Joseph? I think
probably. It sounds right.
Yeah.
So they in fact did bring in a kicker. All right.
Getting back to the offense for just a second, I think this might be a bump Zach Ertz game. Listen to his targets in the last 6 games. 11. This one's weird. He had 1 target in the Giants win for whatever reason. 8 against the Steelers, 7 against the Eagles, 8 against Dallas, 6 in the win over Tennessee. especially with Noah Brown not being there and KJ Osborne. I mean, I don't know even know if he's going to be active for the game or not. I mean, he just got to the team a day or two ago. Zach Ertz, big game. Big game incoming for Zach Ertz.
Well, and then Marshawn Lattimore should be playing a lot in this game.
A great ad.
I guess.
Should be.
I don't know if they've said if they're going to like work him in slowly. They probably won't. Because
Anybody want to give me odds on Marshawn Lattimore pick in his debut as a Commander? Any takers? But I need odds.
You'd have to. That's a Lurch thing.
I would need odds.
Lurch will
Jason,
pretty much take any one of your
interested?
bets.
Yeah.
I would need 5-1 odds.
Okay.
How much? $5 bet?
I
win. I get 25 spot.
My 25 to your 5.
So you lose 25 if he gets a pick.
Sure.
Let's do it.
I'll do it.
Is there a stipulation that he needs to be active, or there needs to be a certain number of stats?
Yeah.
All right, so hold on. So you're betting
if he's not active, it's
$5 that'll get a pick.
Canceled wager.
So what if he's active and doesn't see the field?
Then I win.
Then I'm out $5.
Hold on.
But if he's active, he's seeing the field.
So if he gets a pick, you get 25.
Correct.
Yeah. If he doesn't, you got to give him
$5.
Yeah.
I love that bet.
I got all kinds of wagers this weekend.
Love that.
One thing that Joe Witt did say is he makes a point of this every week if you watch those pressers.
Against a rookie quarterback?
I mean, he's got
making
a chance.
His first start?
He's got a chance.
Yeah.
Is that they want to be productive. He calls it be productive with the ball, like produce the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he says we got to produce the ball more. They have done that, right? More, right? They're starting to create some turnovers. And then some guys asked him, they were like following up, how you do? And he just said he just added some drills, some old school drills that have worked in the past. I don't know what they are, but it's been a focal point for them.
You want to do a
week.
secondary bet with me, Jason?
Okay.
Give me 10-1 that the defense or special teams scores a touchdown.
Oh.
Another $5 bet.
So you're willing to pay him $10?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Come on. 10-1?
Yeah, 10-1.
When you got 500,000 Bitcoin for no reason.
So if Marshawn Lattimore,
I'll give you 8-1.
Okay, I'll take it. If Marshawn Lattimore scores a pick 6, you're going to owe me
40 plus 65.
Yeah, nice for that. Oh, I'm a big fan of Marshawn Lattimore pick 6 this week.
My brain's in a fog now. I'm going to forget about all these. You have to text these to me.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, my text is the audio that Valdez.
All right, so it's
8-1
defensive score or special team score.
Yep.
And it's 5-1. Marshawn gets a pick.
Very bullish on Marshawn Lattimore this weekend.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I am.
All right.
It's kind of the headspace
I'm in. Jinxing that whole thing too? Is he jinxing everything?
I don't think I'm jinxing anything. I'm forecasting. I'm looking into my crystal ball.
Do you see Jaden having a big day?
I think he's going to have a pretty big day.
Yeah.
Against a defense that just gives it up to running backs and rushing quarterbacks. Yeah, should have a big day. In a homecoming game, yeah, probably has a big day.
It's a must-win game,
right? We've gone over a million times. The matchup predictor, of course, hasn't really changed. It has the Commanders 68.8% to win this game. Okay. I don't think Jamison Crowder will be available this week, but who knows? Again, offensively, 212 passing yards per game, tied for 19th. They can rush the ball, but if Kamara's not there, as we talked about, Cakes, that's really going to be an issue for them. They're middle of the pack in scoring. They're middle of the pack defensively. And a lot of that was based on what they did early on. So It's right there for them. You got the Rams on their asses. They're banged up. They're playing a backup quarterback getting his first start. It is a home game. It's difficult to win on the road, but this is basically a must-win scenario.
Yeah. I mean, the Saints don't have anybody besides Kamara that can threaten to score touchdowns.
They don't have anybody that scares you.
I mean, unless you put them in good situations and you turn the ball over in your own 15 and they've got the ball in the red zone, but I can't imagine them just putting together long drives.
The only thing I'd be afraid of is if Haener can get the ball deep to Valdez-Scantling, like he can hit you for a big play. And Kamara,
okay, well, Haener's got to get the ball to him.
He has to get the ball to him.
I mean, it's his first start.
And Kamara, he can take like a screen pass 50 yards for a touchdown at any point.
Now, if you're curious,
I'd worry about that too.
The 3 wins they do have are over kind of a swooning Falcons team, right?
Yep.
They beat them 28-17. The Browns,
right,
which is just they're in turmoil constantly. They lost to the Rams 2 weeks ago, and then a squeaker dud over the Giants 14-11.
Now,
in the last 2 weeks, they've scored 14 points.
I will say that their defense did play pretty well against the Rams, who obviously have two really good receivers and a good running back.
Giving up only 21.
Yeah.